I had also just had a baby, and it was all, well, not just, but, he was just over a year old, and it can get very kind of, boring to do it on your own. So I had been kind of mentoring people on the back of things. I also have a very successful photography business. And then the lady I was coaching with at the time said, why don't you just start your own group? And I was like, well, I'm not sure, like it feels like it's going to be a lot of work. But it started solely for the purpose of it being somewhere where I could share my thoughts, where I could build that community, where I could belong. And it's, as you know, grown into something absolutely phenomenal. We're 2.5 years into it with over 3,000 members in it. And it's become a lot more than just an audience. It's become a lot more than just the safe space that I wanted. It's just become an amazing community of women that are supportive, encouraging, and they're just, you ask anything and there will be a response to it. You want banners, there'll be a response for it. You're stuck with SEO, you have a response for it. You want someone who is a local hairdresser, you'll have a response for it. It's not just completely down to the business, but it's there to support those small businesses find their own community within the community. So as you know, within Successful Superwomen, we have women that are from all walks of life, and they are from various areas of the country. So a lot of those areas have formed their own little hub. So, like in South London, they have a little hub of their own. They've all met on Successful Superwomen, but now they've become really good friends, and now they've formed their own community and their own support and accountability groups where they have now got that network, which they didn't have in the past. So it's, the effect is kind of, it's like a spiral, it's like all the good stuff happening. And that's what communities can do. And that's the power of a community. If you build it right, it's a very powerful tool.
And how has that helped your business? So, that happened organically. And I think you now have 2 groups as well. And you also have your membership, right? And different parts of your business, your photography business as well. So how has that community helped you in terms of revenue and lead generation and, that and retention of customers?
So in terms of my photography business, what it's done is given me visibility. So, when you build something like Successful Superwoman, you are building your credibility as well. And, I'm very authentic. I'm very true to myself. So when I come across, I've been live in my PJs. I've been live with my child on, breastfeeding my child, or halfway through the night when I want to talk about something. And so because of that, the credibility as well and the authenticity comes through, and people relate to those scenarios. When in other groups, which there are some, obviously there are a lot of groups in Facebook where there are where people ask for referrals for a wedding photographer, I often find that they will post about me, or they will say, we recommend Bhavna. So they may never have used me, but because they know me from my community and they've seen my work, then they go, well, we know a photographer, it's Bhavna. She also runs Successful Superwomen, but she's a very good photographer. So it's helped in that respect to expand the visibility. In terms of the Successful Superwomen group itself, we launched a membership in January of this year. So some could argue that we could have started it earlier, but I think for me, the right time was now. I knew that I wanted it now. And we launched the membership portal. And it was really on the back of the fact that I asked my community, I asked them if they would be willing to spend that money, in a membership portal where they would get a plethora of information, where they are getting constant encouragement and motivation in the one-to-one, and that kind of network of women that they can bounce ideas off and collaborate with. And already so many women from the membership have collaborated together. So many more collaborations are coming, you know, and the women in the membership group, you know, when you say, when someone pays for a service, they're more likely to be more present, you know, because they've paid for it. So they want stuff out of it and they want to learn. So we have over 60 different training sessions in that group already recorded by different experts that have come in. And so so now we've got the main group, which is of, I think it's 3,000 and nearly 3,100 women. And then we have the membership group, which has now grown to about 60 women. And I'm opening the gates again for the membership the 20th of July. And what that does is it brings in people close at the time. If they're still interested, then it gets people to come in, have a look, you know, if they're happy. And the membership group is built so there's no obligation. So if someone doesn't want to be part of it anymore because they've got everything they wanted and they feel like their purpose has been served, they can leave. You know, there's no obligation to that. And I think that's the best way to do it, because you can't force someone to stay in a community. They've got to want to be there. It's really helped my daily, like, not just my income stream, but like my daily mindset as well, because now I don't feel like I'm running a community. You know, you spend up to 6-7 hours a day sometimes running a community. If it was just an audience, you could disregard it and go, well, it's fine. But there is so much engagement. There is such a need for you to go in and, the planning of it, to make sure that you're posting the right things at the right time, that you're responding to people's queries. You know, we have admins, but still it's it's your group, it's your community. So you've got to be in there and you've got to see what's happening, you know, and we still give value in that large group. So we still, just because we've got a membership doesn't mean that this community doesn't need nurturing, doesn't mean this community doesn't need inspiring. So what we do is we still bring in the experts to come and do shorter sessions, so people are still getting some value. We still run challenges. We run, we've got the Saturday Souk, which is a huge success. And the Saturday Souk, again, it's a way of monetizing you, if not from your membership, but from your group, and saying, well, I will allow you to have the exposure and you can have it because it's needed. And small businesses want that. A lot of small businesses have lost in this whole COVID thing their way of selling, because, you know, all they're doing is showing up online and they want to sell on other platforms. So giving them this platform means that they can come and sell to the 3,000 women and talk to them about their products and services. And then in return, you end up supporting small businesses as well. And I think what's really important is to make sure that you know how to nurture both your membership group and your community. Because I have seen many times that when you have a membership, you sometimes forget about the community that you've grown. And you know, when you said about, if I walked away from this community, what would happen to it? 100% guaranteed it would carry on. Because the people in that group have formed a bond, they have formed relationships. It will carry on. It will carry on, and people will, you know, start their own little collaborations from it again and again and again, because that is the ethos of it. You know, you have to nurture both. You can't forget one because you've now got a monetized on it. And you've got to also try and nurture your free group, so your community, because that's where your membership's going to be built from. You know, and I think it's, I guess every business is different. And I guess it is what you want back from it. You know, there are groups like the Sephora group that you've said, like Sephora's forum. There are other groups I've seen people come up, you know, a lot of MLMs have come up with their own Facebook groups where that is the platform they use to promote their products and services. I think Smia, if she's still on here, Smia's got her own group, because Smia does aloe vera products and she does the gua sha products. So for her, again, that is the community she's building to sell her services and to show people her products, because she cannot just go door to door to do it. She can't do it at a you know, at an exhibition or anything like that. So she's got to find a portal to do it. And so now there's loads of these groups and loads of these communities, but not all of them are going to be successful, because there has to be this way of nurturing your community, of engaging with them. And if you can't engage with your community, if you can't be present, and it's because it's not like click your fingers and you've got 3,000 people, you know, it's a constant like engagement of, you know, what are you doing today? How can I help you? What are your pain points? Let me get help for you, or let me find that answer for you. And for them to believe in you, for them to trust you, and for them to say, yes, I can buy from you, because now you have shown me that this is everything that you've done for me is authentic, and I'm happy to go into your membership. So, I mean, I can go on.
One of the questions I always get in a lot of the different webinars, especially is content, right? I mean, a big part of building an online community, and I think most of the communities that we talk about are online now. We're not talking about building real world, right? So the question I get quite a lot is, how much content do people need to make these communities valuable? I mean, you have quite a lot of content in the membership. And so, you know, can you talk to us a little bit about how you plan that out and that whole process?
So the content side of thing is really interesting, because when I started the membership, my perception was that I need to give them more, because they're paying for a service. So not only do I need to be present more, but I need to give them more content. Wrong, very wrong, because what it does is it overwhelms not just yourself, because you've got to plan all that in, but also your members, because there's too much going on. They don't know whether they should be logging on, because I had training set up every single day in May and June. That is a lot of content. And then people are like, well, actually, this is all great content, but I don't know what I should be focusing on. I want to watch this, but I also want to watch that, you know? So from July, we have made changes, and we're bringing in people, we're still bringing in speakers, but we're making sure that the experts are staggered and a little bit, you know, with the content, we ask the community, you know, what do you want help with? And some of it is stuff that I think they would benefit from, and some of it is what they want. So it's a combination. And over the 2.5 years, I've built a large like a contact base. So I've got, you know, we had over 100 speakers lined up. They were ready to come and speak in my membership, but that's only through the networking. So building a community isn't just that you build a community and you're a one-man band. It's a lot about what goes on behind you, and who else are you connecting with that will help you grow your community, and how can you can come in. Sorry, I'm gonna have to bring my little boy in because he's just crying. Stop.
All he wants is you, and he's doing my nutting. Hello, everybody.
Oh, not too much longer, Bryn.
Look, he's just gone quiet now. This is all he wants. He loves being on the screen. So building that contact list, and building that community of people that I can rely on, who I know that it's a two-way market, right? It's like if they want me to go and speak in their group, then I can do that, and if they want to come into my group, I can do that, and you swap, because that is what you would do if you were working 9 to 5 and you were in an office. If you were part of a team, you'd collaborate. Your marketing team would collaborate with your sales team, right? When you have a community, you don't really have all that. You don't have a team that is a marketing team or a sales team or a tech team. You are everything. So the best way is to collaborate with other experts who are experts in tech, who are experts in sales, who are experts in SEO, who are experts in building websites, and then bringing them in. And the only way you can do that is if you connect with them, whether it's through, like I've connected with you through, through Eugenie, and then other women through Eugenie as well, and similarly other networks around us as well, smaller networks as well, face-to-face networks, and then just contact with people. Even LinkedIn is a great source, making that contact with people, telling them what you do, and just asking, will you come into my community? And you'll be surprised how many people will be happy to come and do that.
Yeah.
The key thing to remember is, though, what are you going to give them in return? So it's all good for someone to come into a community and talk about their expertise, but you have to allow them to then have something, give people something in the group or leave something of value, and take something from value back. So whether it's allowing them to promote their course, or to give away the downloadables that can help people, you've got to give them that opportunity as well.
Yeah. So, bringing up Eugenie, you also have a hub on Eugenie,
Yep.
and you're going to be, we're going to be relaunching it together as well.
Right.
So why, I know you've done so well on Facebook. You've used Facebook as a really great marketing tool. The community is, it's one of the very few on Facebook I actually even engage with. I actually personally I just don't have the time to be trolling through Facebook all the time. But for this group, I make the time because of all the valuable connections. But talk us through a little bit about what attracted you to, forget Eugenie, but just a platform off of Facebook. What were you looking for? And ultimately, yeah, it'd be great. What do you like about Eugenie as well? Of course.
I think it's really important to have an offline community. What happens if there's no Facebook tomorrow? What if you've built this amazing community that is generating leads for you, that you have monetized on, that suddenly Facebook says you no longer have this group? What do you do then? You lose that. In an instant, that is closed. You can't how hard it is to rebuild that is very, very difficult. So it's really important from that perspective to have an offline community. I think also, if you're going to monetize, you have to check into Facebook regulations as well. I think there are some things on Facebook that say you've got to have an offline base to have a membership base. But also because ultimately, I want my members to have something that they don't need to log into Facebook for. That they can disconnect from Facebook, and that they can just come onto a platform which is their community, and then they can put whatever they want to put, and it's a safe space, and they're not worried about anything else. It's just all there, all in one place. And I think that's the key, everything in one place. And I love the new, the whole Eugenie platform at the moment. It looks so nice, and it's just putting content on there and getting the women to interact in that. You've also got the marketplace feature, which I think is amazing, because I think that's going to be really useful for us going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really important, because the key thing is, if you don't have Facebook tomorrow, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And I mean, we've been hearing a lot. I mean, there's a lot of also, communities. I think one of the things that I see, especially with a lot of corporates, and then we'll see if there's anybody has any questions. There's a few questions in the chat that we can address. Is the idea of, and I get this across the board, right? People think it's very easy to set up a group and set up a community. Let's create a Facebook group, let's create a WhatsApp group. And then in Slack, I get that a lot on Slack but no one's talking, right? We are putting in a lot of content and no one is talking to us. And so how did you face that in the beginning? Did you get where you were doing a lot of the engagement and people weren't responding, they weren't asking questions?
That's really interesting, because actually, so the group started 2018, September. When the group started, my firstborn was, I think, 18 months old. And I remember I was in New York and I had just launched it. And I remember logging on to the group from New York constantly. And the reason was because I had to engage the group. I was live pretty much every single day. I was going live. I was talking about different things. I was teaching. I was giving value. I was constantly in that group. I did not leave that group. And I think I did that for a whole year. And then it wasn't until I don't know what's happened there. Until I fell pregnant with Bryn, my second born, that I noticed that my engagement dropped. because I was pregnant. I was had the photography business going. I was just too tired to constantly be online. And even though I had admins, etc., it's not the same. People want you because you are the face of that group, and they get used to it, and they're like, "Where's Bhavna?" So I noticed a massive drop in engagement.
Yeah.
And then last year, I was like, no, this is not what I want. So I started showing up again, and the more I showed up again, the engagement went up. And then from this year, it's just been, the growth has been upwards. There's not been a downward spiral. It's just been upwards. And I think a lot of it, obviously, yeah, COVID has kind of made, there's more people at home. There's more people online than ever before. But what it's done is allowed me to be present. It's allowed me to engage more with my clients and with my audience and the community in general. So it's really important, because if you can't show up, if you're not consistent, you will see a drop. And that's with anything, any business, right? Any business you do, if you stop showing up, you will notice a difference. And you'll notice that, because unfortunately, people can be quite fickle. And even though you have a community, you'll have, you can build a community of a handful of loyal supporters and fans, but a lot of these people will also have, will also be part of other audiences and other communities. So if they're not getting what they want from your community, you're not serving them anymore. And so if you're not serving them anymore, they're going to go somewhere else, and then you've lost that, right? You've lost that then. Yeah, I mean, you have to show up. You have to be present.
Definitely. And I think that's in any brand, right? It depends. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's like your model having the Facebook group and the membership. I mean, if you are doing it for health and well-being products, and you build that community up, and people are coming to rely on you for that advice and that support, and you're no longer there. So, this is also very transferable. Thank you so much, Bhavna, across so many industries. Hopefully everybody got a little bit. We have a few questions that we can just address quickly.
Give me 1 minute, Susan. Just 1 second.
Yes, of course. So I'll answer the questions that I can.
Okay.
And so do third-party schedulers affect algorithms on Facebook groups? Yes, they do. Facebook will always prefer its own algorithm and its own scheduler over any third party. And so, Facebook does have a scheduler. If you have a business page, you can use that scheduling feature to push your posts out. But yes, it does affect it. If you post a video that isn't native to Facebook, so if you do a YouTube like video, or you post a video, it's also not going to rank as high as a live, which is the same thing on LinkedIn, right? So if you do native content on these platforms, they're always going to rank it higher than they are going to rank any third party. I mean, I'm not sure, how drastically the scheduling thing is going to affect it, but it does affect it. And then the other question that we have is about nurturing the group. Smia says she tries to show up as much as possible, but she worries, I worry it isn't enough. How do I know it's enough?
So I think the thing is, you need to show up every day in a group like yours, Smia. You need to be present. But I think also you need to maybe consider what you are sharing. Are you oversharing? Because sometimes if people are seeing the same content, they might think, well, actually, what's she doing that's different? If you're doing so, if you're going to show them a gua sha technique, maybe do it once a week. And then the other weeks, maybe bring in other people to talk about health and beauty. Diversify it a bit, but also maybe try and experiment with other products, bring in other, talk about, just, variety is a spice of life, as they call it. So just maybe think about what you're sharing. If what you're sharing is, if you think it's the same thing, I mean, you've got something that I think you do every Saturday or every Sunday, that's a great way of doing it. That's consistent, because, every week that's what's happening. But I think also think of other content that you can bring in.
So I think we're gonna wrap it up this evening. That's the end of our hour. I'm just going to quickly tell you guys a little bit about our mastermind. So, collaboration, but I think both Bhavna and I both feel very strongly about collaboration. And so we've come together to offer an 8-week mastermind of how to build a membership. And you could put in, you know, a customer community, online community, whatever it is that you, a social community. A lot of those principles actually are the same. So maybe the bits about payment models may not be super relevant in a social community, but ultimately, you know, we're going to look through membership models, identifying your target client, all the way down to giving you advice on content for your community type. We're going to be starting this in August, and it's going to be a pop-up Facebook group. You're also going to get access to the Success for Superwomen hub on Eugenie. And Bhavna and I are also going to give you guys access, because both of us as brands believe that people need to be supported through any online initiative. So you'd get 3 months on the Eugenie platform, and also 3 months in the hub, where Bhavna has so much training that can help you in different parts of your business. So if you have any questions or any interest in that mastermind, we've definitely been sensitive to COVID. It's only £97 for an 8-week mastermind. So it's very, very, I think, affordable, but we want to just make sure that as people are using online community right now to really support their businesses through the COVID crisis, you know, we want to be able to do our part and help you guys out. So if you've been looking at either building a membership or an online community, or you have one and you just want to learn and kind of learn the basics again, please do join us. And, you know, we're really looking forward to this. We've got a lot of interest already. And I think we're just learning a lot from each other, actually. You know, I'm always constantly learning too. So, yeah. So
yeah,
hopefully everyone enjoyed.
We'd love to have you. It will be amazing.
Bhavna, thank you again so much. I know you've got kids. You know, I know evenings can be harder for the parents out there.
That's
but
okay. That's okay. Completely fine. Not to worry.
Yes, and I'm sorry, guys, but any women in here who are not a successful superwoman, please come and join the group on Facebook so you can kind of check it out. The power we've got, you know, the community watching with us tonight on Facebook as well. And if you know, online community isn't easy, but it's worth it. So have a good evening, guys, and thank you so much for joining us. See you soon.